Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Pro Tour San Juan, Rich and BDM. And in this show, we're going to talk all about the cards. So let's get to it. BDM, the number one archetype is blue-white control. So what cards are we looking at here?
Well, when you're looking at blue-white control, it's about 40% of the online field right now.
Okay.
Playing in tournaments is doing very well. This number might be a little misleading because of the card Gideon Jura. Up until about last week, there was a bug in Moto and Gideon was not functioning correctly. Somehow they decided that the card needed to be better, and it was actually even more powerful online than it is in the real world. The card is still ridiculous. It's been doing well in Standard. We're seeing both of these cards. They're the cornerstone of the blue-white deck, along with Day of Judgment, Everflowing Chalice. We can expect to see this deck be one of the defining decks in the block constructed format.
And are we going to see all 7 of these activations? The one that I question is this minus 12. Are we going to get Jace Ultimate?
We'll absolutely see Jace Ultimate. If you don't see it, it's only because people know it's coming and they just pack up their cards. I mean, no one actually ever lets you remove the 12 counters from Jace.
Sure.
Right? They understand the futility of the game and they can see.
Okay. So that's blue-white control. Now, next, we go for what we might call the control deck of the field. Now, I don't mean control as in counter all your stuff. I mean control in the sense of, can you beat this deck? It's devastating red. If you cannot, you've got no business bringing your deck to the Pro Tour. BDM, talk us through devastating red.
All right, devastating red is the mono red deck. It's been called red deck wins. It's been called whatever you want to call it, right? And this deck is brutal. It's very fast. Kiln Fiend, Kargan Dragonlord. We've seen devastating summons. Goblin Bushwhacker. Goblin Guide is in all of these decks. It is very aggressive. If you stumble for a second, you are just toast. Literally toast. I mean, they just burn you to death.
Yeah.
Right? And it's about 15% of the field. Differing opinions on how well this deck does against blue-white.
And how it does against Core Firewalker in particular. That's a real beating for the mono red deck.
Sure, but you see a lot of these decks have Smoldering Spires, which is just a colorless card that says Core Firewalker actually doesn't do any blocking this turn.
Yeah, all right. So that's red. Let's go across to black now. Now, I've got a real question here. There's a card that we're going to feature in a moment, and it's a card that we saw last year in the combo deck with Dark Depths. It's a 2/1 first striker. Not quite sure I understand what it's doing in block. BDM, explain to us Vampire Hexmage.
All right, so the third most popular deck in the online metagame right now is Vampires. Now this could be an issue of card availability. It has a lot of commons and uncommons. It's very easy to build. That may account for some of its popularity, but Vampire Hexmage certainly accounts for some of that popularity as well. This is a card that can be sacrificed to kill a Planeswalker. Can be sacrificed to, take all the mana you tapped into your Everflowing Chalice and negate it by removing all the counters from a Chalice. Deals with Gideon, deals with Jace, comes back from beyond with a Grim Discovery. Just a really solid card that you're seeing in every single Vampire deck, no matter what version they're building. You're seeing 4 of this card.
All right, and tell us about Inquisition of Kozilek, the kind of duress variant.
Well, this is just a card that helps you get past some of those red aggro decks that we were looking at earlier. It can take a burn spell if that's what you need to take. It can take a creature if that's what you need to take. It's like, oh, you're going to play a Kargan Dragonlord. Let me take that. Oh, you've got Burst Lightning. Let me take that. Just a very, very flexible card that lets you, figure out your best plan of action.
Okay. Deck number 4 is Green Eldrazi Ramble. So it's all about the acceleration. How fast can I get to a certain number of mana? And the question is, how high are we going? So let's have a look at some of the Eldrazi we might be seeing, BDM.
Oh, I mean, obviously Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre is just, it's just a great card. It just vindicates, permanent when it comes into play. They have to sacrifice another 4 permanents when it attacks. Kozilek, I mean, who doesn't like drawing 4 cards? These are great cards. They cost 10, they cost 11. You can ramp your way up to these with, all sorts of explorers and
nest
invaders and token generators, generating spawn tokens. So, I mean, and the idea is you take control of the game and you play these.
An Explorer is going to be a really interesting card this weekend. Now, I have a question. We get to 10, we get to 11, but my question is, why aren't we getting to 15?
Well, people are getting to 15. and people are also cheating to 15.
Ah, okay.
So I think if you see people playing Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, you're going to see them playing with Summoning Trap. And that really is 15, even with all the help and all the acceleration, is a little rough.
All right. So those are our kind of big four, if you like.
Sure.
What else is around the metagame? What are you sort of sniffing out around the tables?
So,
as the players
so
are
a
here?
lot of the other popular decks is we're seeing the so-called Koros deck. This is a deck with core creatures, equipment. It has Armament Master. It has
Stoneforge Mystic, that kind of
Stoneforge
thing?
Mystic, yeah, and it's equipment, cheap creatures, and lots of just push over the top. Very aggressive, very similar to the red deck. It has some removal. The deck is very good. Blue, red, green Comet Storm is a deck. This is the deck Brad Nelson won the Mox with. So it has Comet Storm, it has Ramp, it has Avenger of Zendikar. This is a huge card in this format, Avenger of Zendikar. It's a 5/5. When it comes into play, you get a bunch of plant tokens, and then every time a land comes into play, you landfall, you put +1/+1 counter on all your plants. Gets out of hand very, very quickly.
Okay, so they're another couple to look out for.
Blue, white, green control.
Oh, right.
That's basically the blue-white deck we saw earlier with Gideon and Jace, but it has Avenger of Zendikar and Oracle of Moldiah. Oracle of Moldiah is a card that is going to be very big this weekend as well.
All right, so I have one final question for you. Niels Vienne, who made the top 8 of San Diego, one of the Belgian players, he said to me last night, he said, you know what, this format in Block Constructed is basically, it's Bruce Willis, because it's unbreakable. Is he right, or are we going to see a deck that comes out and dominates?
So I was speaking to Conley Woods. I had a similar conversation with Conley Woods, and this is a breaker of formats, right, Conley? And he said, even I can only do so much. He said, this is about finding the right cards. This is about understanding what decks are going to be out there, and what are the cards you need in your deck and in your sideboard, and you need to have access to be able to deal with as many situations as possible. Which decks can you afford to dodge? Which decks will other people be doing the work for you on? It's like, is red a real deck? Or does blue-white just crush that deck, and as a result, you don't need to deal with red? These are the questions that people are answering through playtesting.
Okay, and there have been playtest groups all around the island, some incredible locations, huge groups of players getting together for fun, vacation in the sun, the Atlantic Ocean, tremendous fun, but also some hard work of playtesting. But you know what? We're talking about Block Constructed. But when it gets to Sunday, it's all about opening the packs. We will see you later today on Tournament Center. Rich for BDM. See you later.